Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Here are a couple of the stories that I'm going to be sharing with you in this exciting Moon Lambo video. First comes from xrparcade.com, which is run by Leonidas, an XRP community member. And he wrote this piece, and it's titled, Banco Rendimento becomes the first bank to join Ripple's cloud service. And this is notable, perhaps more than people are giving it credit for. I don't see people jumping up and down celebrating because of this necessarily. Of course, in part, that's because we're on the Webernets here and I can't physically see people. Maybe they're out there. Maybe they're acting like idiots, jumping up and down, flailing their arms all about, looking a fool. I don't know. But this could potentially be a bigger deal than people are giving it credit for right now. Why? Well, primarily, and we'll go through this article here, which I think beautifully paints the picture of what's going on. But it's certainly the case that it's going to be easier for Ripple to onboard new customers to RippleNet. Once on RippleNet, you're certainly just one step away from implementing on-demand liquidity, which of course uses XRP as a bridge currency, which is super duper exciting to me. So before we go any further here, if we would please delicately tap that like button, and also if you are a fan of banks using Ripple's services, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, because I assure you, if you do, you will be in good company. This is quite the echo chamber. No unique thought allowed. This is an echo chamber. And also, again, I do want to thank Leonidas, because not only did he write this piece I'm about to run through here, he was kind enough to tag me on the Twitters to make me aware of it this evening. So thank you much, good sir. I very much do appreciate it, and I appreciate all the work that you do keeping this website running and informing the XRP community. You're pretty much a badass. So, Banco Rendimento, a Brazilian bank founded in 1992, joined RippleNet back in January 2019. Almost 1.5 years later, Rendimento has become the first bank to join the newly launched RippleNet Cloud. RippleNet Cloud was introduced only a few weeks ago by Ripple's Vice President of Product, Amir Sarangi, and whose name I assume I butchered. And here's a quote. RippleNet Cloud allows customers to send and receive payments with one integration and a common Ripple payment object, RPO, amongst all customers on RippleNet, meaning less friction and more standardization when customers are ready to scale. Now, of course, it's even better than that, so check this out as the piece continues. Using Cloud, customers can go live on RippleNet 5 weeks faster than on-prem customers and avoid hardware requisition or staffing to get started, speeding up payments for the end consumer. Well, how about that? That sounds rather delightful, doesn't it? And that was a quote from Amir. Now, and here's another one. RippleNet Cloud also makes it easy for financial institutions to add alternative settlement through on-demand liquidity. There you go. What does on-demand liquidity do? It's a bridge. It offers XRP as a bridge currency. It all comes together here. How can you not love this stuff? And that's why I'm talking about it. The type of stuff that gets the most type of celebration, parade type activity. It's when there's something explicitly about XRP, but I am always thrilled when things that I see will ultimately lead to a more adoption of XRP, because I think that utility actually matters, and I see this leading their customers and potential customers down a path where they're that much closer to utilizing a digital asset, XRP, as a bridge currency. Now, cloud customers can also maintain and make new connections more easily through one API for all of their RippleNet connections, added Mr. Sarangi. Cloud solutions are cheaper to deploy and manage compared to on-premises solutions. At the same time, Ripple's operations team handles maintenance and upgrades. This reduces customers' expenses, allowing them to pass these savings to consumers in the form of lower costs and more competitive rates. So how is it that Ripple can replace all of this? The banks don't have to take on the additional overhead. How is that possible? Well, presumably it's because they have greater scale, and it's just, imagine if you have to set up an operation over and over and over again for each individual location, whereas if you just set it up once, and it's just easier to scale up once you already have it in place also. But I think that's just the coolest freaking thing on the planet here. Additionally, financial institutions on RippleNet Cloud cut down their hardware and staffing management expenses and take full advantage of Ripple's operations and technical services teams, monitoring and support round the clock. So it's not just that. To consider this, Ripple's very fluent with the technology. If there's a Ripple employee that's taking care of this, they know the stuff inside and out. Whereas if you had to actually have somebody on staff taking care of that, you could imagine the headache that could be, especially if there's employee turnover. That doesn't sound particularly fun to deal with from my perspective here. Now, according to a press release on Cointelegraph Brazil, Banco Rendimento, one of Ripple's first partners in Brazil, is also the first to join the company's cloud services. The bank became the first in the banking industry to join Ripple's cloud service, RippleNet Cloud. So, again, very cool stuff here. Let's jump into this next piece now. Should we be concerned? This comes from AmericanBanker.com, and this piece is titled, Banks Say They're Gaining on Fintechs During Pandemic. Well, Ripple is a fintech company? Is Ripple in trouble? Is this somehow hurting them? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I want to share with you, this is an interesting piece that just came out today. Fintech startups chipped away at U.S. banks' customer base for years, and everything from wealth management to consumer lending and beyond. Now banks say they're taking some market share back. Traditional lenders are seeing the coronavirus pandemic as weakening the upstarts that have been challenging them since the last financial crisis. With consumers seeking refuge with larger companies to cope with the outbreak's economic toll, clients are gravitating toward the biggest stable institutions, Morgan Stanley Chief Executive James Gorman said. And I could see that totally making logical sense. If you're a smaller fintech startup, you can't necessarily weather an economic storm as great as what we've been seeing as easily as a large company that would have much, much deeper pockets, and if there's pockets rather. And so if there's a break in service, I could see how those fintech companies could start to be in trouble. So there's a primary reason that Ripple's not going to be in that position, even though they're maybe they're technically close to being considered a mid-sized company. I think technically you're not really considered a large company until you have like 1,000 employees, I want to say. And they've got, what do they have now? Like several hundred or something like that. So they're a company on the smaller side, but my gosh, they are flush with cash. They are doing quite well. So of course there was no opportunity for that to happen. And they're also doing something completely different than a lot of these other fintech startups here. Because I think many of them, really most of them perhaps, not doing anything related to blockchain or cryptocurrency whatsoever. So Ripple's in a very unique position. And certainly there is no other fintech startup that is positioning a cryptocurrency to be used as a replacement for Nostra Vostra accounts, utilizing a cryptocurrency XRP as a bridge currency. Nobody else is doing that, what Ripple is doing, that core piece of it there. Because they're positioning it as a global solution, and it actually can be as long as the ecosystem is sufficiently built out. Now here's a quote from this piece. There were some major outages with some of the new online robo-players, Gorman said Tuesday at Morgan Stanley's virtual U.S. financials conference. That doesn't work. You can't not access your account for several days. And I got to firmly agree with that. I could see how that would be a problem, and you lose customers. And it's just tough because you're thrust into this position, which months ago it just seemed completely absurd. This coming, it was unforeseen by businesses throughout the country. And in part because even if you were aware of coronavirus, you still didn't know how the government was going to act in forcing businesses to actually shut down throughout the United States. So it was even if you knew about coronavirus, still a huge question mark. And we did know coronavirus is in the news in the United States. I don't know. I remember seeing it in January. Maybe I saw it in December. I can't remember at this point. But still, you didn't know what was going to come, right? That's earlier this year, the trading platform at the online brokerage Robinhood Markets failed repeatedly as global stocks swung on news about the pandemic. The glitches spurred some clients to leave the platform for competitors. Bank of America customers have opened almost 300,000 new investment accounts on the company's Merrill Edge platform. Consumer and small business head Dean Athanasia said during the conference. There's a flight to quality, he said, so we are attracting an awful lot of new clients. So unrelated to what Ripple is doing here, but fascinating nonetheless. Ripple certainly in the world of fintech, and some of their other fintech buddies out there not doing so hot as a result. And I'm certainly sympathetic to that, but I'm not surprised to see a story like this as a result. But that is it for this video. Thank you for stopping by, my friends. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!